Welcome back. In today's video, we shall talk about specific heat and latent heat. We will discuss the difference between these two. Let's start with the specific heat. What is it? Specific heat refers to the amount of heat that is required to raise the temperature of, say, 1 kg object by 1 degree Celsius. Equally well, you can say it refers to amount of heat that must be extracted from 1 kg object so as to decrease the temperature of that object by 1 degree Celsius. We know the heat is quantified in the units of joules. So specific heat capacity, often labeled with a symbol C, has a unit of joules per kg per degree Celsius, or joules per kg per Kelvin. They are the same units, and the reason is an interval of 1 Celsius is the same as an interval of 1 Kelvin. So how do we relate Q, C, the mass, and the temperature change in a single equation? The equation that enables us to do that is the following. The amount of heat equals the mass of the sample, or the material in this case, the specific heat capacity of that material, times the change in temperature. So the change in temperature is the final temperature minus the initial temperature. It can be in Celsius or Kelvin. As an example, let's assume you have a water sample with mass 0.5 kg, and you want to pump in certain amount of heat so its temperature can be raised from 30 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius. Now the specific heat capacity for water is 4,187 joules per kg per Kelvin. That means you need to pump in 4,187 joules of heat in order to increase the temperature of 1 kg water by 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius. So coming back to this example, the amount of heat that need to be pumped in order to achieve that is the mass 0.5 kg, specific heat capacity is 4,187 joules per Kelvin per kg, times the temperature change, in this case 32 minus 30, that is 2 degrees Celsius or 2 Kelvin, and the answer will be in joules, which turns out to be 4,187 joules. That also means if you have a couple of objects, object 1, object 2, with two different heat capacities, specific heat capacities. The first one, the specific heat capacity, is let's say 1,000 joules per kg per Kelvin. For the second, the red object, its specific heat capacity is let's say 2,000 joules per kg per Kelvin. What that means is you need to pump in more energy or more heat into the red object compared to the yellow object in order to raise the temperatures of these two objects by the same amount, assuming they have the same mass. So the red Q must be greater than the yellow Q, because the specific heat capacity of this object is greater than that object. That is the significance of specific heat capacity. Now let's look at the latent heat. What is this? Latent heat is involved whenever you have a phase change involved, meaning when liquid turns into vapor, or when that same liquid changes into a solid. So in these two examples, you have phase change involved. An important point about phase changes is that there is no temperature change that accompanies a phase change. So if you have, say, a sample of water, liquid water, and it turns into, say, vapor. This process occurs at constant temperature of 100 degrees Celsius. Likewise, if you have a sample of water and it turns into ice, this process occurs at a constant temperature of 0 degrees Celsius. So the amount of heat change that takes place here goes into either breaking the bond or forming the bond. Now there are two constants that are important here: the latent heat of vaporization and latent heat of fusion. For the case of water, latent heat of vaporization has a value of about 2,256,000 joules per kg. That means in order to convert 1 kg of water into vapor, you need to put in this much joules of heat into it. Latent heat of fusion for water is 333,000 joules per kg. That means in order to turn 1 kg of water into ice, you need to pump out or remove this much of joules of heat from that water sample. So the amount of heat that is needed to accomplish phase change is given by the following equation: the mass of the material times the latent heat of vaporization or fusion, depending on the phase change that we are trying to accomplish. So it's clear that since the heat is measured in the units of joules and the mass is measured in the units of kg, the unit for latent heat comes out to be joules per kg. In order to better understand these concepts, let's look at the following problem. Find the minimum amount of energy required to completely melt 150 grams of silver, initially at 18 degrees Celsius. Specific heat capacity of silver is 236 joules per kg per Kelvin. Melting point of silver is 1235 Kelvin, and latent heat of fusion of silver is 105 kilojoules per kg. So what you have is silver at 18 degrees Celsius, and you want to turn it into a liquid silver at a temperature of 1235 Kelvin. Let's first change Kelvin into Celsius. 1235 Kelvin equals 1235 minus 273.15 degrees Celsius. So in a degree of Celsius, the final temperature of that liquid silver is 961.85 degrees Celsius. So what are the processes involved? The first process is where the temperature of that silver changes from 18 degrees Celsius to 961.85 degrees Celsius. So this involves temperature change, and there is no phase change. The second process is when there is a phase change, meaning the solid silver turn into a liquid silver, and that happens exactly at 961.85 degrees Celsius. So the first case is the case of specific heat, mc delta T. The second is the latent heat, mL. So you can call this specific heat, and that is the latent heat. And we need to figure out both and add them out. Let's calculate the first term. The mass is 150 grams, so turn that into kg, 0.15 kg. Specific heat capacity for silver is 236. Note the units, joules per kg per Kelvin. The temperature change is from here to there, so the difference 961.85 minus 18, and that's going to give you specific heat in the units of joules. Now the second contribution, the latent heat contribution, where there is a change in phase involved. The mass is again 0.15 kg, It's completely melting. The latent heat of fusion for silver is 105 kilojoules per kg. So that means it's 105. Turn that into joules by multiplying it with 1,000. So 105,000 joules per kg. And the unit is also in joules. Adding these two terms, you get a total heat of 49,162 joules. So that is the answer to this problem. Problem 2. Ethyl alcohol has a boiling point of 78 degrees Celsius and a freezing point of minus 114 degrees Celsius. Latent heat of vaporization of 879 kilojoules per kg. Latent heat of fusion of 109 kilojoules per kg, and specific heat of 2.43 kilojoules per kg per Kelvin. Calculate the amount of heat that must be removed from 0.5 kg of ethyl alcohol that is initially a gas at 78 degrees Celsius so that it becomes a solid at minus 114 degrees Celsius. So let's see what's going on. First, you have a gas phase, 78 degrees Celsius. Because 78 degrees Celsius is the boiling point, it will first be turned into liquid at the same temperature. So 78 degrees Celsius. Then this liquid will undergo temperature change of minus 114 degrees Celsius while still being in liquid phase. Then this liquid will solidify into solid at the same temperature, minus 114 degrees Celsius, because minus 114 degrees Celsius is indeed the freezing point. So how many contributions? This is the first contributions, latent heat of vaporization involved. From here to here is a specific heat. And then you have a latent heat of fusion involved. So let's calculate these three terms separately. First, QV for the first process. So the mass is 0.5 kg times the latent heat of vaporization, which is 879 kilojoules. Turn that into joules, so it becomes 1,000 per kg. Now the second term, the specific heat involved. So to calculate that, you need to know the mass, which is 0.5 kg. Specific heat capacity, note the unit, kilojoules per kg per Kelvin. So you need to turn that into joules per kg per Kelvin by multiplying it with 1,000. Now that there is a temperature change from here to there. So minus 114 minus 78, and that's going to give you the specific heat in the units of joules. We are calculating the magnitude of heat because we know the heat is removed. So you can turn this into a positive number. So that means it is just 114 plus 78. Now the last term, Q sub F, the latent heat of fusion. So again, the mass is 0.5 kg. And latent heat of fusion. It's latent heat of fusion because the phase change is from liquid to solid. And that is 109 kilojoules. So turn that into joules, multiply that by 1,000, becomes joules per kg. And together it will give you the units of joules for the heat. So when you take this, you plus with the second term plus with the third term, you will get the total amount of heat that must be removed to accomplish the needed change. And the answer is 727,280 joules. And that solves the problem. Thank you for watching.